It's that time of year. Huge week here on Wisconsin's Morning News. Very important week, influential week, if you will. People pine to hear their name called this week.
This is going to become a bigger deal.
It already is there. The WTMJ Standouts of the Year, otherwise known as
the SOTYs.
Yes, so here's what we do. Every year, we'd like to highlight some folks who made an impact in the state of Wisconsin. How do you define impact? Well, it kind of depends. Could be any number of different things. It could be philanthropical. It could be economical. It could be a combination. It could be educational. It could have something to do with sports. There's any number of different ways there can be a standout of the year. Very similar to the Time Person of the Year. I don't know if you've ever heard of that. The Time Person.
That's supposed to be this week, actually.
Yeah, that's expected later this week.
We're beating them to the punch.
Yeah. So we will have one a day that we will announce, including today. So here it is, today's Standout of the Year.
The 2025 Wisconsin's Morning News Standout of the Year is Microsoft President Brad Smith.
This is literally creating jobs across the state of Wisconsin.
The world's most powerful AI data center, dubbed Fairwater, is rising in Mount Pleasant.
As we get steel from near Wausau, as we get chillers from La Crosse, as we get generators from near Madison.
Fairwater is more than just business for Microsoft President Brad Smith.
Certainly the fact that Brad Smith is from Racine County, he's familiar with the region, and he certainly made statements to that effect.
Smith's a Wisconsin native, born in Milwaukee. He spent 5 years as a kid living in Mount Pleasant. He even delivered papers. But the Milwaukee Business Journal's Rich Kirchen says the site is more than just nostalgia.
It's the available land. It's the willingness of We Energies and other energy companies in Wisconsin. So they're happy to invest to provide the electricity that's needed. And then the other thing is the state a few years ago did enact a new tax break for data center projects.
In turn, Microsoft plans to create Wisconsin's first data center academy at Gateway Technical College and the Microsoft AI Co-Innovation Lab at UW-Milwaukee.
This is literally creating jobs across the state of Wisconsin.
Smith says all of it is meant to bring new advancements in medicine, science, and other critical fields right here in Wisconsin.
Bad idea for that land and a bad idea for Caledonia.
The proposed behemoth Microsoft data center would all have disfigured the essential character of Caledonia permanently.
Profit should not always be the overriding factor.
Now, Fairwater is not without its critics. Environmental concerns, AI concerns. There was backlash to a second proposed Microsoft data center in Caledonia.
This seemed like something we were about to do to the village, not for the village.
A lot of residents were concerned about the effect on the community, traffic going in and out, lighting, et cetera, et cetera.
Smith and Microsoft decided to pull out.
The village board was ready to approve the project, but the company, which does seem to be sensitive to local concerns, decided that they would withdraw that site, and they said they would keep looking in Racine County.
We have a philosophy. It's under promise, over deliver, and partner with the community.
Smith says they are committing an additional $4 billion to be spent over the next 3 years, similar in size to Fairwater, bringing their total investment in Wisconsin to more than $7 billion.
We will train more than 100,000 people in Wisconsin by the end of the decade so they have the AI skills to fill the jobs of tomorrow.
So Brad Smith, our first WTMJ Standout of the Year for 2025. We'll have another one tomorrow and throughout the week right here on Wisconsin's Morning News. So lots of questions about what's going to happen with these data centers. And there's some who have concerns, others who are really excited about them and wondering what they can be. Joining us now on Wisconsin's Morning News is Tricia Braun. Tricia is with the Wisconsin Data Center Coalition. Tricia, good morning. First of all, can you speak on the impact that Brad Smith and Microsoft have had on the state of Wisconsin?
Well, there is no question that the investment that Microsoft has made in Wisconsin, and not just Southeast Wisconsin, right? There have been multiple investments, have been transformational and has actually set our state up on a path to potentially be a leader in technology manufacturing data centers, at that scale. But it wouldn't have probably had this pace and this interest without that initial investment in Southeast Wisconsin.
So what has to happen then? What has to happen now to ensure that it is a path of success?
There are a lot of different opinions, mostly being shared on social media, that have a partial truth or are based on something that people have read, but from a project that happened 5 years ago, and they're not talking about current projects and current ways of developing data centers specifically. And what is not being talked about is how important this industry is for Wisconsin. And I mean that from, my job is to help improve and escalate and elevate the economic impact across the state, not for necessarily just construction companies, which is where people tie the jobs to. It's our manufacturers. And it's not just the large manufacturers and the names that like Modine and Train. It's the smaller parts and pieces, tool and die, and metal fabricators, like those companies that have been here for centuries, right? Or they're just legacy industry that Wisconsin has built itself on that needs this right now. And that's just not the conversation that people are having.
In terms, Tricia, of Brad Smith and the impact that he may have had on the decision to make this multi-billion-dollar investment in Wisconsin, do you read that as it's because he's from here and he has ties to here and Microsoft has interests up in Green Bay with Titletown Tech and those other things? Or is it a combination of that with this state also is a perfect place for these data centers?
I think we can all agree that Brad Smith is a very, very smart guy. So when he chooses Wisconsin, it's not, yes, there may be a tie to it that, he loves Wisconsin in general, but there's also very sound business decisions for these investments. And it's from all of the things, from the right place, climate, natural disasters don't necessarily occur here other than maybe a tornado here or there. But not at the scale that other places have. We also have the workforce. We have the companies. We have that can supply, build into the supply chain, and all of the things that we love about Wisconsin that we don't brag enough about. Brad knows. So I think while he does love Wisconsin, he may be from here. The decision to put his investment here is multifaceted for sure.
Moving forward, can we expect, Tricia, more data centers? And I don't want to say is there a limit, but is there a number that the state would target?
Well, if I have a magic 8-ball, I could answer your question.
Right.
I don't know. I think there is obviously limitations to the pace at which the projects can occur. And that's from both just land availability, power generation, demand from the customers, et cetera. Do I think there'll be a few more? Absolutely. Do I think it'll be more than 10? No. But what we're all forgetting too is we've had tons of data centers, less than 50, but a sizable amount here in the state already that people just didn't know were here because they look like regular buildings. But if you're talking specifically about the hyperscale projects, I would say there will definitely be a handful more because it's a good environment for them. The time frame that you talk about, I don't know. I would say a minimum of 5 years. Most people will say 5 to 10 before it plateaus. It's not like a bubble, I don't think, but it could be longer than that based on, new technology and improvements on what's existing in the facility and replacement of those parts. So I don't know. Your guess is probably as good as mine on that one.
Tricia, do you see any ancillary benefits outside the data centers and the jobs and the things that are created immediately around them with a company like Microsoft, a global planetary leader, having such a deep investment in our state? Does that mean we may see more charitable dollars from Microsoft? Do we have more white-collar, high-tech jobs moving in? Do we have more office people? Do they build a giant skyscraper in downtown Milwaukee?
I don't know about the skyscraper, but because I don't know if that's the way that they work, I'm not going to project that. But I think what we are all not talking about too is where this AI and what they're wanting to come out of the technology that's going into that building, what that could mean globally, right? What problems are we going to solve with the AGI? What, whether it's climate control, medical, just even the way that our current manufacturers operate, that type of efficiencies that are going to be created by the AI is none of us know, but we all are sort of like leaning into it, and I think that's going to be a really cool opportunity for Wisconsin to be at the center of.
I'm glad you brought that up because I think oftentimes, unfortunately, what we think of is, oh, well, it'll be able to create a meme of Vince riding a unicorn or something like that. You know what I mean?
Actually would be awesome.
But that's really important also, right?
Yes, it is.
But it is so much larger than that.
Yeah. No, it's so much larger than that. And the ability to do so many bigger things is just mind-blowing. It's above my pay grade. I'm telling you that right now.
Tricia Braun, thank you. Tricia Braun with Wisconsin Data Center Coalition. As we announce Brad Smith as the first WTMJ standout of the year, the president of Microsoft. We'll do another one tomorrow. We'll unveil tomorrow's honoree at 7:20 this morning. And then tomorrow's honoree will join us in studio 24 hours from now.